Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters. I'm Hannah Macintyre and today I'm here talking to my friend and co-worker Louise from Cosmic Soul Therapy. Hi Louise, thanks for joining me today.
Hi Hannah, I'm really excited. Thanks for
I'm really
asking
excited
me.
too. This is good. Okay, so as you know, I've got a few questions, some that have been submitted by fans on Facebook and some that I've come up with myself to ask you today to just find out a little bit more about what you do and the services you offer, but also your story, how you got to where you are today. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, good. Okay, so I know that you offer a huge number of services and treatments for clients to work them through. And you're an amazing soul plan reader. And I know this because obviously I've had one which really helped me. Can you explain to the people watching what a soul plan is and what you would use it for?
Okay, I'll try and keep it as short as I can. So it was first developed by a man called Dr. Frank Alper, who developed it from ancient texts essentially and placed a numerical value on letters and sounds. And as you know, everything in the universe has a vibration, that sound, and whatever you put out into the universe, you tend to get back. So that was how it was kind of born to start with. It was then progressed a little bit further by Blue Marsden, who actually taught me the method, and he assigned symbols as well. So it's worked out on a person's birth name, generally what's on their birth certificate, because that's the first sound that went out into the universe. And it's for people that generally can feel a bit lost, a bit kind of stuck, not really sure what they should or shouldn't be doing. And actually, I mean, it's not just for those people, it's for everybody. Because even if you don't feel lost and you feel like you know what you're doing and that's what you should be doing, it's a great motivator to have that soul plan, really back it up. It gives you that confidence, that motivation. And I think that's what it did for you,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah, indeed.
Along with your hard work, obviously. So it's broken into the worldly aspect and the spiritual aspect. So we talk about challenges, talents, and goals. We talk about the worldly aspect first, which is the first part of your life, really. So from birth to about the age of 40, 45, somewhere around there. It can be earlier for some and later for others. It's quite fluid. And the spiritual part is that second part of your life. So we work out a numerical value for the challenges, talents, and goals. Challenges will outline exactly the tough stuff you've been through, and most people really say, yeah, I'm hearing that, I've been through that, but actually it's kind of good to know that that has happened for a reason, and that was going to happen to me. Now the talents is about sharing with people. They may be aware, may not be aware of the talents that they have, and those talents can help to overcome those challenges. The goals are what we're striving for, and in the middle of all of that, we've got the soul destiny. It's quite complicated. I'm trying my best. In the middle of that, we've got our soul destiny. So that's why we were really brought to this earth, what our soul wants us to know. It's just fascinating, and I kind of get a buzz every time I see a client because it just rings true, and it's such a great motivator, such a great empowerer, actually, that I can't really explain. It's just amazing.
I mean, I have to say, from my own personal experience of having one, I didn't realise that I felt a bit lost and that I was getting in my own way. So I came to it because it was something new that you were doing, and I thought, well, I'll give that a try. That sounds interesting and exciting. And I didn't really understand the profound effect that that reading you gave me was going to have on me. Now, for me, as you know, because of what came up in my reading, for me, just hearing somebody else say, this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is your destiny, gave me freedom to be able to just do it, rather than judging it, tying myself up in knots, and you know, getting in the way of it so much. And it really did transform me and my path. And you know, I'm sure you've noticed since we had that reading how things have progressed and changed for me in my platform of work. So it, you know, it really is, I think, something that just opens you up to all of your potential. The work that you've got to do, you know, don't go for one if you're scared of hard work, because there is stuff you need to do. But you know, there's so much more to it, isn't it? Really mind-blowing and eye-opening. The other thing you don't do, which I don't know about, is soul transformation therapy. So talk me through that, explain that to me.
So that's kind of a little bit linked to soul plan, but you don't have to have a soul plan to have soul transformation therapy. That was developed by Blue Marsden as well, who also taught me that method. So essentially, he developed an archetype soul tarot deck, and the symbols which he put together for the soul plan and the numbers he put on the tarot deck. So this works in a normal kind of oracle card reading would initially start. So I have a set of cards with various kind of symbols on, things like that. They look very different to normal kind of cards, but they have a very unique function. So sometimes people will come with a specific problem that they really want to get to the crux of. Sometimes people come, I just want to improve, and I'm not sure, you know, what's holding me back. So we'd have a chat first, get them to choose a couple of cards, and that really helps hone into the real heart of the problem. And it's quite magical the way it does that. As you know, with oracle cards, they come up and you're just like, I knew this was going to come up for me. So even if the person doesn't consciously know exactly what's going on, you pick a card and they're like, yeah, that makes total sense. So from the cards, there's several kind of modalities of healing that I do with soul transformation. So meditation, soul retrieval, and those get chosen according to what cards are chosen, and intuition plays a part in that as well. So it's a massively healing modality, just like the soul plan, really. And it kind of turns into a little bit of a counselling session, of course, as many of my services do, really. And we finish off with a meditation, and it is very transformative, as the name would suggest.
You'd hope so.
The clues in the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, another thing that I love to do, because it seems to change people's lives. It just kind of, it's the motivator, it's the empowerer, and it gives people those tools to go out and really see what they want to do and how to deal with the issues that they're facing. So yeah.
Amazing. You can hear your passion for it when you're talking about it. I love it. So going away from what you do, let's go back to the beginning of you. How did you start on your journey? Would you say that there was a calling? How did you fall into this giant sector of spirituality?
Okay, so this is a funny one, really, because I think people often see a calling as a thunderbolt kind of moment. You've been chosen.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like that for anybody. All I know is that from childhood, really, I was aware of the spiritual side, like children tend to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you grow up, you tend to zone out of that a little bit, unfortunately. But I know that I ended up coming to you actually for a card reading when I asked one of my friends who they would recommend, and then you suggested joining your spiritual development circle. And I really believe that there's no such thing as coincidences, that timing is perfect. I didn't even need to think about it. It just felt right. And since I started that a few years back, I just feel like it's grown and grown, and like I've grown and grown. And I can say, yeah, I think I have that calling, but it's more of a progressive thing. It's not the thunderbolt moment,
Yeah.
but I think that's the way it's meant to be.
Yeah, I didn't get a thunderbolt either. I think it's just, you know,
Yeah.
When you look back, you can see how spirit got you to where they got you to. But at the time, you're not really aware that you're following any path with any idea. You're just, you know, having an experience. So
Absolutely,
it's fascinating. Yeah. When they have a plan, they have a plan. So
Yeah.
another service you offer is life coaching. Talk to us about life coaching and how that works.
So this is quite different from the other things I offer. It's very goal orientated. So often clients will come to me with this very specific goal in mind, but also people come to me just wanting to generally improve a certain area of their life. And it's my job as a coach really to help them get clear on exactly what they want and what kind of steps we're going to put into place to make that happen. And that happens in a few different ways. So we're all a bit like onions. We have several layers, and it's about peeling away those layers, those reasons why we haven't gone after those goals ourselves. And much of that comes down to self-doubt and kind of limiting beliefs, often from our past, to be honest. So we have to kind of work through all of that first and then get really clear on the goal. And then it's my job to help my client decide for themselves, with me kind of unpeeling things for them, what steps they're going to take to reach that goal. And then it's definitely my job to hold them accountable. So I know that I tend to get more stuff achieved if I've got someone saying, why haven't you done that? It's the same for many people, I'm sure. But why haven't you done that? So yeah, that's for me to really to say, look, we said we'd get this done in the last couple of weeks, and you've not done that step that we talked about. Let's talk about why that didn't happen, and then go forward from there. So it's kind of baby steps forward in the right direction to reaching that goal.
And important work, I think, because I think so many of us expect things just to fall out of the sky and into our laps. I did a reading online this morning, and I said, like an Amazon package delivered, you know, all parceled up and done for you. That doesn't happen like that. The journey of self-development, I think, is about working through it baby steps, always trying to progress and being held accountable or holding yourself accountable, depending on whether you're able to or not. So that must be amazing work for changing people's lives. And getting them
it's definitely about putting the hard work in, definitely. But if you've got that goal that you want to reach, there's no other way you're going to get it unless you work for it.
Indeed. I completely agree. Okay, and last but by no means least, on your amazing CV that we're going through today, you're also a Reiki master. How has your healing journey evolved in order for you to be able to help others with their healing journey?
Okay, so thinking kind of personally wise, when I was a child, actually, my mum always used to say to me, I had a healing hands, and wanted me always to put my hand on her achy joint. And that didn't really mean much to me as a child, obviously, but as I grew older, I ended up going into the medical profession, and that is because I wanted to care for other people. That sense within me has always been really strong. So over the years, I've done a lot of that, a lot of caring for other people, and that's such a rewarding career. But in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, I've had a lot of personal stuff come up for me, a lot of challenges. I faced a lot of challenges, which, yes, were in my soul plan. And some of those challenges still continue. So I feel like I've really built resilience and I've built knowledge. And I feel that when you're in that situation, when you're facing a challenge and you don't really know the way out until you make it out, having someone whilst you're in that situation that understands how it feels to be in that situation is really quite empowering and that's quite a positive thing, I think, if you can explain that you've made it through. And then obviously I met you and I went through my Reiki attunements, and I feel like with every step I take in my spiritual journey that my healing just gets stronger and stronger. And I'm building gradually what I'm offering. I'm building on myself as well. Healing is a lifelong journey. So I think I'm excited to see what comes and what I can help people through in the future.
And I think all healers have to have had a healing journey themselves.
Definitely.
Because then they come from that space of truth. And because I taught you Reiki, but I always say to people when they're learning Reiki from me that you're a teacher. You're teaching people how to heal themselves, how to break free of that energy. And I think that you can only resonate at the right frequency where people can buy into you if you've done it yourself. There's no shortcuts with spirituality. You have to have done the work for you to be able to attract the right people. So yeah,
absolutely.
Completely. So all of the rubbish is worth it ultimately.
Yeah, that is true, but it doesn't feel like it, particularly sometimes at the time.
No.
It all builds us, all of it.
Okay, so tell us the most profound experience you've had in your spiritual journey so far.
So profound. I think that can mean very different things to different people. Again, not with the real thunderbolt thing. I think every treatment I find quite profound, the effects that it has on my clients, and that doesn't wear off. It's just as exciting and just as profound to me every single time. But personally, I think when I joined the spiritual development circle with you, and I really tapped into connecting with my guides, and I think that was the first time really I'd ever done that. And that sense of overwhelming love and support, it makes me feel tearful just talking about it. It's just the purest love, and that's profound to me. And knowing that you can tap into that at any time just makes me feel so lucky to be that loved and be that cherished.
Completely agree. And just for anybody who's watching this, I want you to know that you have the ability to connect to your guides and connect to that energy. This isn't something special that's been, it is very special, but it's not something special that's been bestowed upon me and Louise that we get because we're the chosen ones. That love from spirit is available to everybody, and it's such a life-changing force. It completely transformative. Yeah, I hear you. Amen. So how do you feel your work's progressed? And obviously we've talked about all, I know that you've been adding on and going on a real journey of exploring your healing and how that's going to unfold for you. And obviously you're still on it, but tell us about your progression and how you found that entire journey.
The hard work, first of all. Like nothing really comes really easily. And I think that the things that are most worthwhile will not come easily, unfortunately. But fortunately at the same time, actually, because if we didn't put the work in, it wouldn't feel quite the same when we achieve it, I think. So I've really put a lot of work into myself. I've been quite strict about coming to circle, and now we're doing online circle. Although, of course, there's times when I think, oh, I'd rather sit out in the garden and drink or whatever. But actually, when it comes down to it, I wouldn't rather, because once I'm in the moment, that is anything. So it's about discipline, working hard, and making time to work on yourself, essentially. So I have, in the last few, I mean, I've meditated a lot over the years, but I've become kind of a little bit stricter with it. So over the last few months, aided by not being able to go out very much, I've drawn non-negotiables into my life. So meditating every day, non-negotiable. Then separately, practicing getting into my power and really listening to my gut instinct, separately to meditation, non-negotiable now. And I think drinking a lot of water, trying to eat as good as you can, although, yeah, anyone that knows me is know I'm not that great at that, but I try my hardest, and that's all any of us can do. And that's all I would ask anyone to do. But the rewards just outweigh the effort when you get there. It's just awesome.
Yeah, completely agree. It is hard work, but it's such worthwhile work. And I think any healer or anybody who's really evolving on their spiritual journey will tell you, you know, if you want it, you've got to work for it. No second chances on that. So how did you decide? Obviously you've gone down a healing, coaching, therapy route. How did you decide that was the route for you at this time? I know paths change, my path has changed loads, but at this time, how did you decide on your chosen field?
I'm going to be honest and say I don't think I really decided. I think that I think that my soul gave me no other choice, is how I want to phrase it, really. You know, the universe and spirit, they whisper to us 24/7, and they whisper and they whisper and they repeat messages. And if you're not listening to the whispers become a bit louder and then a bit louder and then, yeah, much louder. And you just feel like you physically have to do it. And that's how I felt years ago when I started my nursing. So, and then that's just really developed with this going to spiritual development circle, and then starting Reiki with you. There wasn't a decision I made, it just happened naturally. And I think that's the way it should be. Obviously, there's the hard work you put in.
Yeah.
And we all have free will, we make our own decisions. But if you listen to the kind of flow of life, then I think we're guided in certain directions. And when you know it's right, you have to trust it's right.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Lovely. Okay, I think you've touched on this. I think I know how you're going to answer it, but I've got my list and I'm sticking to it. What's your favourite part of your work?
So from the services I offer, gosh, that would be like choosing a favourite child a little bit, wouldn't it?
Hard hitting questions on mediumship.
Yeah, that's a toughie. Do you know, I don't think I have like a favourite. I think I feel passionately about them all, and because they all have the ability to change people's life, which is essentially what I was brought to this planet to help with, to be of service to other people and to equip other people with the information to help them to heal and move themselves forward. So I don't think I could look at any of my services and think, oh, that's not really cutting it. I think, yeah, I think they're all my babies, really, and I love them all equally. I find them all as exciting as each other.
Good. Lovely. That's how it should be. Okay, if you could go back in time to, you know, right at the start of your journey, wherever that might be, what advice would you give yourself?
So thinking back to when I started with you, I think that's really when my journey properly started with spirit. I think I would tell myself to be patient, to not expect any of those thunderbolt moments, and just to know that things aren't necessarily as clear as you think they're going to be. So some people that maybe don't practice spirituality might expect us to see certain things really clearly, or hear someone speaking to us really clearly when we're listening to our intuition. But it doesn't always work like that. Often it doesn't. It's kind of a matter of decoding that a little bit at times, I feel, which then feeds into the hard work. So be prepared to work hard, which I was anyway when I started with you, but to kick it up a notch, that those bringing those non-negotiables in earlier, I think, you know, it would have furthered where I am at the moment even. So yeah, but also to not put any pressure on myself. That's another big thing. Sorry, like there's so much.
Exactly.
Patience, don't put too much pressure, just don't expect certain things. It's, yeah, just go with the flow.
Indeed. Okay. So what's next for you? Because we're all on a journey, we're all progressing. Where are you aiming for next? What do you want next?
So I'm about halfway through a holistic counselling diploma at the moment, and it was strange the way that happened. I was looking for conventional counselling qualifications, and that's how I came across Soul Plan, actually. As I said, there's no such thing as coincidences. It happens as it happens. And on my first day of the Soul Plan, I hadn't even got through the first day. I think it was within the first hour. I thought, yeah, I need to do more here. And I knew they did a holistic counselling diploma, which usually we're meeting up kind of once a month in London, but obviously we're via Zoom at the moment, which is great, actually. The energy flows just as well online, as you know. Yes, I'm halfway through, and that's just giving me lots of different modalities to bring in to more of a counselling role with people, although a lot of what I offer, kind of counselling comes into that anyway, naturally. Same with you, Hannah. It's the nature of the work, really.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully by this time next year I should be finished, fingers crossed. So that's developed me further. Every time I do one of these modules, we practice on each other, and then that is like you're receiving that healing. So I feel myself growing with every module, and I'm really excited about that. It really makes me feel really empowered, and yeah, I can't wait to see what that brings.
Another string to your healing bow, you know, more people that you can help shift and change their lives, which is your sole purpose, I do believe.
Yes,
So and how has your work with, I mean, we've touched on this a bit, but how has your work with spirit changed your life? How has it changed you?
So if I think about a few years ago, I was a fairly anxious person, actually. I've been through my fair share of kind of anxiety, and I used to find myself getting very frustrated, and that turned into anger, more at myself than anything, that frustration. And I don't know where that came from. It's just a normal human emotion, but sometimes if it sits about for too long, it is really not great for us. And I think back now, and I am so much more of a calmer person. Obviously, I have my moments. We all do. We're all human after all. But I just, yeah, I feel so much calmer. I feel like I've got so much more purpose in my life. And I really feel like I'm striving for something. I just feel super excited about my life, essentially.
Good. Yay. Me too. I get that. Okay. What is something, and you wish that everybody knew about working with spirit?
That hard work is worth it. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about what I would tell myself at the beginning, to not to be too hard on themselves. I think that's a big thing, actually, because I think when people start on the journey, they often, if we're in mixed groups, etc., learning together, can feel intimidated by other people, think I will never be as good, I can't do it. And absolutely anyone can do anything they put their mind to. I'm of that mind completely, and I would encourage anyone to try, anyone to do it, even if they don't have the want to really go and offer it out as you and I do to other people, but for themselves, for their own kind of self-development, and to make themselves that calmer, kind of more rounded persons, really. And yeah, I think I would definitely recommend that anyone try. Just awesome. And that love you feel, and that support you feel, and knowing you can tap into that at any time, it really helps you get through some of the tough stuff. If you can just close your eyes and just think, right, I'm just going to connect, just going to breathe through it, and then you come out feeling so much better.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to want to be out there in the public forum. Your journey with spirit can be a journey for you as well, and that, I think, is amazing. I mean, I'm sure you can agree that when we both started, we had no expectation that it would take us to where we are now. You know, it was purely something for ourselves. That's definitely how it was for me.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just want to finish. You're on your last question already. Talking to you about your art. I know you've started creating some truly amazing works of art because I've seen them on Facebook. Now, how has art helped you with your connection to spirit and peace of mind? I know that you mentioned you didn't think you were artistic when you started.
So I actually, I kind of brought this up on my Facebook page, my business page recently, about creativity, and how I never thought I was really creative. And lots of people don't think they're really creative, but we all are. We've all got it. And it just takes many different forms. So I randomly, I don't know how it started, I randomly started painting. Now, you're talking to someone who would draw a stick man, who is rubbish at kind of your conventional drawing, conventional painting. That's not really me, to be honest. And I don't like to feel hemmed in like that either. So the stuff I produce is really about just going with it and seeing what happens, and knowing, actually, because I have been a massive perfectionist in the past, that's something I fight with on a daily basis, really. But with the art, it can't be perfect. Each one's different. You don't know how it's going to turn out till it turns out. And you know, if you start messing about with it, you're going to mess it up. So it's kind of a lesson for me to learn to live and let live about that, and not to expect too much from myself again, although it's not even about that, because I want to create amazing things, but I've learned to step back and actually just let the paintings settle however they're going to settle and not mess about with it. And I think that has really helped me to connect more to being more non-judgmental about myself, really. And I feel that almost like meditation, I feel that connection when I'm creating that connection, that calmness that comes over me. And I'm really looking how to create new things, and that's exciting. I've got new ideas that I want to try. So every day and every art piece is different, and I'm really learning to embrace that, and I think that's helping me grow even more as a person. Yeah,
brilliant. They're lovely. I love them, as you know. I'm a big fan of them. So yeah, a fantastic what you can do when you get out the way and just leave it alone and trust.
Yeah,
it's so easy, just do it. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. And I'm sure loads of you who have watched this will be completely inspired by the services that Louise offers, and, you know, changing your life. So if you want to take that step, check her out. She's on Facebook. It's Cosmic Soul Therapy. I will tag her on this on Facebook, but for those of you on YouTube, Cosmic Soul Therapy, have a look up, because I know that you do it online as well as in person. Is that right, Louise?
Absolutely, and obviously 100% at the moment, but all of services work just as well online. The energy flows just as well.
Exactly. Fantastic. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank
Please
you.
like and share this video so that we can reach as many people as possible. Every share helps. Thank you.